anything that's more in your face than your glasses on your face. There isn't anything that you would be really more aware of than one of your physical senses that isn't functioning in the way that you really want it to. You take your physical body everywhere you go, mostly. And so when there's something that isn't functioning the way you want it to, we agree with you that it is a more vivid reality and therefore would logically occupy a bigger portion of your thinking process. But here's the law-based premise that we would begin from, no matter what the issue is that we would be working with if we were standing in your physical shoes. And that is, as you stand in your nowness with your experience at whatever it is, and you accept it in a not resistant pushing against it, trying to explain why I don't want it, as you just did. We get why you would do that, but rather than doing that, just accepting it as where I'm standing, which is the beginning place of the journey that I'm now upon. In that acceptance of what is, or in that making peace with what is, there is a releasing of resistance that then allows the motion toward what you want. And this is the thing that we really want you to understand, and we know you probably already do. You'll hear it really easily now. So when you can't see that beautiful face, you want to, so you launch a rocket. When you can't see the small details of something that you want to see, you launch it. When you see your glasses becoming more intensely focused and needing to do the work, you launch a rocket that you want your natural vision to return. And all day, every day, maybe more than any other subject that anyone could talk about, you're launching those rockets. And so there is a vortex version, a vibrational version of what you are wanting relative to your vision that exists in this vibrational vortex of creation. It exists there. If you can accept that it exists there, in other words, the source within you is seen clearly through your eyes. We're not kidding you about that. The source within you has the ability to focus your eyes in a way that would give you vision about things you can't even see. People see energy that most people don't see. Your eyes have the capacity to see anything and everything that you want to see at all kinds of dimensional levels. You could actually see vibration if you wanted to. You could actually see the vibration of sound. Your eyes have the ability to do that. In other words, you have a capacity of vision that humans have not even begun to explore yet. So, and the source within you is seen through your eyes in that way. So as you accept that there is this vibrational version, and rather than arguing for the limitations in an attitude of this I don't want it to get worse, and I don't like it as it is, but in an attitude of accepting it as the new normal. It's the reality from which I'm beginning my journey. And I'm seeing as I'm seeing, and if I weren't making a comparison to other people, or first of all, if you didn't have the ability to make that comparison, you wouldn't have a robust version of what you're wanting over here in your vortex. And that's a good thing that it's there. But you can't reap the benefit of it. You can't cash that reward in. You can't experience this that you have asked for that is beyond what many others have ever asked for. You cannot redeem that. You cannot receive the full manifested value of it as long as you are standing in this place of awkwardly pushing against what you don't want. The analogy that we've been offering recently is going to the new car dealership and saying, I would like to remove the windshield from here and put it in the floorboards because I'm one who likes to always look right where I am. So I won't be needing to look out there. That's irrelevant to me. I'm looking right here. And we say, of course, that always makes you laugh because that's silly, because you need to look somewhere where you're going. But this analogy really applies here, that when you get so wrapped up in what is, it doesn't let you have a successful or a comfortable or a joyful journey to where you're going. So the words that humans have been using are words like surrender or make peace with it. We like the making peace with it. But humans often feel uncomfortable with that, because making peace with something unwanted feels like giving up wanted and making peace with unwanted. While we don't mean that at all. We're not asking you to make peace with a vision that is less than you want. We're just asking you to let go of the struggle. We're asking you to make peace within you. We're asking you to find peace. We're asking you to find alignment. We're asking you to find a moment of no resistance, because we know in the absence of resistance, the vortex will take you in and give you full sight, you see. You follow? So in all of that logic that you offered to us, there is a holding to resistance that you've got to let go of. So
if I'm able to let go of this resistance, are you saying that it'll naturally get better on its own with no effort?
Yes, because the effort is in the letting go of resistance. That's the effort. We don't want it to be effort, but it apparently is. Esther had an experience with her eyes when she first moved to Texas from Arizona, and she went to get her driver's license and couldn't see in the contraption. She said to the woman, "This is broken." Because the last time she looked in one of those, she could see clearly, and this time she can't. This is broken. And the woman said, "Well, it isn't broken, but let's look again." Esther could not read what she needed to read. And so the woman was telling her, "You're going to have to go have your eyes examined, get a prescription, come back with your glasses, take the test again, and then you will be required to wear your glasses while you drive." Well, all of that just sounded like limitation, limitation, limitation to Esther. She wanted no part of that. She thought she could see fine. Jerry was a little glad, but she thought she could see big things like cars and trucks and things that really matter. And so she said, "Abraham, can you read this?" And we said, "Yes." So we positioned her eyes differently in the contraption, looked more out of the top of her eyes rather than out of the center of them, and she read it all and got her driver's license that day. And she said, "Isn't that interesting? Same eyes, just different looker."
You want to hang out with me forever?
Yes, yes. That's the whole point of this discussion today. The source within you is looking through your eyes, hearing through your ears, to the degree that you are allowing it, you see. But there's this thing that goes on that you don't even know you're doing. It's like when there's something that you know you don't want, and then along comes someone like Abraham who's crowing about, you are a deliberate creator and you get what you think about whether you want it or not, and you're wanting to direct your thoughts toward what you're wanting. And so many of you translate that to mean, well, this thing that I don't want, I won't look at it, and every time it comes up, I'll just look away. I won't look at it. Not realizing that in the determination to not look at what you don't want, there's still a resistance. There's a resistance in accepting the badness of it, in accepting the aversion of it, in trying to stay away from it. There's still a tension within it. That when you're really making peace with everything, making peace with anything, in the attitude that I am where I am and I can go where I want to go, and there's always going to be a starting point to every journey. But when you, but you see, you put yourself in a place that is less beneficial for you when you compare what is to what was. I used to be able to see more clearly, and my eyes are declining. Therefore, where I am is on this downhill slide. And so you're sort of clinging, not wanting it to slide down anymore. There's resistance in all of that. Where if instead you're just accepting that where you are is where you are, and that you can get to wherever you want to be from where you are. So there's a sort of making peace with it rather than a struggling against it, not trying to defend it or justify it or negatively speculate on what's coming, but just accept it. In that acceptance of what is, there is a letting go of resistance that then allows you, and this is the factor that's most important to remember, allows you to return to the nest egg, to the promise of the vortex, to allow the vortex to reveal its contents to you because of your absence of resistance. Makes sense, doesn't it? Jerry used to ask the question because he saw people, he always wanting to help people gain their financial footing. And he would see them on this downward spiral where they would lose the boat and the jet skis, and then they would lose one of the cars, and then the house. And it bothered him that they would have to go all the way to the bottom before they would start bouncing back. He wondered why they couldn't start the bounce after the boat was gone. So he asked us years ago, why is it that they have to go all the way to the bottom before they start bouncing back? And we said, because until they are at the bottom, they're still clinging to what they fear they will lose. And as long as there is a clinging to what they fear they will lose, there's resistance that keeps them from going to the vortex. We weren't using vortex terminology in those days, but doesn't it make perfect sense? So in light of what you were talking about, you've been measuring it, and you did a good job of stopping it. So as you're stopping the decline, but then you reached a sort of plateau where you're not moving further forward as fast as you want to. And then you said something really interesting. As I look out of my eyes, I can't help but notice what I cannot see. And we say, but as you look out of your eyes, you also could notice what you can see. You could be noticing the 30% improvement that you've already achieved, but you're not as much. You see what we're getting at? It's a powerful thing. It's a powerful, it's the missing piece. It's the piece that almost everyone is missing, and when they get it, everything will click into place for them. It's the complete and utter acceptance, not just putting up with something unwanted. It's the complete loving acceptance of what is right now, just accepting it the way the source within you does, because the source within you is not tensed against any decline or not tensed against anything that you think is going wrong. Because the source within you sees the big picture and knows that in the worst of times there is the strongest of asking, and knows that this motion forward is real, and the source within you knows that anything that exists vibrationally can be realized in full manifestation. And so there's no tension in source about anything. And that's what you want to replicate within yourself. You want to replicate the absence of tension, which might feel like the absence of momentum initially, is a sort of giving in and giving up the struggle, and an acceptance of the perfection of where I stand, no matter how it looks in relationship with anything that I ever thought I wanted to live. The perfection of where I stand in this perfect stance, this perfect beginning of the journey, moving toward what I really desire. Good.
So, one more thing with that in mind. If I let go, and improvement will come, not in the same way obviously, but the way improvement came before. How do I stop myself from being too eager and trying to speed it up?
Because the way you do that is by leaving out a piece that you just put right back in. And that, because you're willing to let go in order to achieve the manifestation. But in the ulterior motive of achieving the manifestation, you're introducing resistance right back into the moment and not letting go. So you have to let go for the peace that you're seeking, not for the result that the peace will bring you. Isn't that tricky? You're making peace, and the way you do that, here it comes.
Bring it.
The way you do it is because you're letting the emotion be the manifestation that you're seeking right now, not the improved eyesight. And when the emotion, which is the emotion of peace, the emotion of relaxation, the emotion of confidence, the emotion of well-being, the emotion of appreciation, the emotion of appreciation of what you can see. In other words, when that emotion is what you're reaching for and succeeding at, then the other follows.
Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed.